If you're young, ambitious, and tired of being lied to about money, this video is for you. Here's the harsh truth. Society wants you to accept a normal life with average pay and maybe a trip away every year if you're lucky. If you want more than this, they shame you into thinking that you're greedy. However, what's really greedy is the system keeping you stuck at the bottom while the rich enjoy a life of freedom. I always knew I wanted to become rich, so in my early 20s I quit my job and within a few years managed to become a multimillionaire. This means I know exactly what it takes to build real wealth and continue to grow it over the years. So today's video is all about my 5-stage process to actually getting rich while you're still young. Let's get into it. The fastest way to get rich is drop shipping, or is it crypto? How about day trading? That's the exact problem most young people are facing. Everyone tells you something different, which leaves you frozen because you have so many choices. And what if you end up picking the wrong one? The thing is, life isn't like school where there's only one correct answer. There's actually multiple right choices. But when you don't pick one because you're too scared of making a mistake, life picks it for you. And if you let that happen, then the system will make sure to keep you broke. That's why the first stage is called drifting. People stuck here just float through life, letting things happen to them instead of taking control and steering their life in the direction they want to go. They drift from one job or side hustle to the next, hoping that one day they'll strike it big. There's a famous quote that says, if you aren't building your own dream, then someone else will hire you to build theirs. This is exactly what happens when you're stuck drifting. I mean, nobody's waking up in the morning thinking, how can I make Jimmy rich? The only person who will ever put your success first is you. So I want you to be really honest with yourself. Are you drifting? I meet so many young people who say they want to become rich, but their actions just don't match their ambitions. They say things like, money doesn't make you happy, but this is just a lie. The rich have fed the poor for decades. Money equals freedom, and freedom equals happiness. So there's no shame in striving for it. Mark my words, a drifter won't build serious wealth for themselves. They might get handouts or win the lottery, but they'll never be able to become rich on their own merit. So, how can you avoid being a drifter? That brings us on to, you can change your life in a moment with just one decision. You just have to choose to stop being pushed around by life and instead become obsessed with just one thing, getting rich. That's exactly why stage 2 is called obsession. Now, the outcome from that decision may take a few months to materialize, but it's that single choice that can propel your life on a whole new trajectory. If me suggesting that you should obsess over becoming rich made you cringe, then you need to change how you think about money, because there's nothing shameful about wanting to be rich. The truth is, having money allows you to live life on your own terms and avoid being controlled by others. But as I said, the only way to achieve this is with obsession. Now, lots of young people I talk to think they want to be rich more than anything else, but actually, they're just arrogant. They say they want to become rich, but also learn to play an instrument and run a marathon, and also at the same time become fluent in another language. I mean, imagine your friend tells you they want to become a professional footballer, but also do all of those things too. You'd probably laugh at them. Becoming a footballer is hard enough, let alone stacking all those things on top of it. Becoming rich is something only a small percentage of the population will ever achieve. So, why do you think you can get there whilst also pursuing 12 other goals at the same time? I can tell you from experience, if I didn't lock in and only focus on becoming rich in my early years, then I wouldn't be sitting here as a multimillionaire today. But being obsessed over becoming rich isn't enough to get you there. You need to figure out how you're actually going to make money. That brings us on to, the truth is, you get paid in proportion to the value you provide. And the reason you aren't rich yet is because you lack value. So the question is, how can you become more valuable? This is the part a lot of people get stuck with. They think they have to come up with some kind of revolutionary business idea or find the next crypto coin before it goes to the moon. But you really don't have to be an innovator. All you need to do is discover something that's working right now for many people and ask yourself, how can you do it too? The fastest way to master a money-making skill is to find someone ahead of you and uncover their proven pathway. Some great choices are video editing, drop shipping, deal negotiating, short-form content creation, or starting an eBay store. That's why stage 3 is called discovery. When I was in my 20s and thinking about opening my first radio-controlled model shop, I didn't just dive in and set one up anywhere. I got myself a Saturday job in a local model shop. It was great for earning some extra cash, But the real value was in discovering the exact proven pathway to running a successful business. I was like a sponge, always asking questions, chatting with customers, and jotting down anything useful. But even more importantly, making a note of the things holding them back. I even spent my Sundays talking to modelers and customers to find out what they wanted from their local model shop. Now, I know you probably don't want to open a model shop, but the principle is exactly the same when it comes to learning any high-income skill. Find a person who's already achieved what you want to do and discover exactly how they became successful. It's basically a cheat code. You get a blueprint to skip their mistakes and end up progressing even faster than they did. This person doesn't have to be famous. It's actually better if they aren't, as you know the money they say they're making is coming directly from their skills and not from their personal brand. You can find them in Discord communities, on Instagram, and even at sports clubs. But how can you get someone to reveal their proven pathway? Now, I'm not going to lie to you, uncovering this is probably the hardest part. That's why I've gone out and done the discovery for you by hand selecting some very impressive young people who are currently making over $100,000 a year in profit and asked them to reveal their proven pathways for you to copy. They're all on my new platform called the Wealth Portal, which you can currently try out for free. Each pathway is over 3 hours long and condenses their many years of experience into easy to follow step-by-step lessons. I'm also in there every week posting specific lessons about making and investing money. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to check it out. For now, just pick a pathway to follow. Once you've done that, it's time to focus on closing the skill gap between you and the person you're copying. That brings us on to... Now it's time to follow the proven pathway you discovered and start making money. This stage is called acceleration. At this point, you need to get in plenty of practice, so just get started, even if you don't fully know what you're doing yet. If you're offering a service, do some free work to get experience. If you're selling products, launch your first Shopify store. The results won't be amazing, and that's fine. The truth is, before you can be great at anything, you've got to be willing to suck at it first. Now, if you want to speed up your acceleration, you need to get constant constructive criticism. I mean, so many teens come up to me and tell me they want to be a YouTuber. They swear blind that they're making amazing videos, but the algorithm just isn't pushing their content, and they think one shout out from me will blow their channels up. However, when I take a look at their videos, I can see they aren't anywhere near ready. So why do they think they are? Well, the people they're asking for feedback from are often family and friends. These are the worst people to get advice from, as firstly, they don't want to hurt your feelings, and secondly, they also probably don't know what to say, as they're not experienced enough to give you useful advice. This leads to most people not pivoting and changing their approach when they're going down the wrong path. There's a famous saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. That's why learning a high-income skill isn't just about putting in more hours of practice, it's about getting good advice to help spot the things holding you back. That's exactly why you need more constructive criticism from people outside your bubble, which I understand can be hard to find. That's why I spend a lot of time running interactive live events and answering your specific questions inside the Wealth Portal, which, as I mentioned, you can currently try out for free. This process of getting feedback, then putting your head down, can be pretty brutal. Most rich people look back on this period of their life as their lonely chapter. You'll start to feel disconnected from your childhood friends because, let's be honest, most of them don't share the same ambitions as you, but at the same time, you're not yet successful enough to connect with the people you look up to. So it's this strange middle ground which can be very lonely at times. My son went through this when he left school. Instead of going off to university, he decided to start learning videography. He was so focused on building up his side hustle that he lost contact with many of his old friends. For a good couple of years, he grinded away on his own, putting in the reps, staying self-aware, and slowly refining by doubling down on what worked and cutting out what didn't. Believe me, it took a while before he was rich enough to make friends with other successful people. This lonely chapter is where most people give up and slip back into being average. And honestly, I don't blame them. It takes a crazy amount of dedication to push through when you're on your own. So if you've outgrown old friends but aren't rich yet, who can you turn to for support? Well, when I was growing my wealth, the best friends I made were the ones chasing success and leveling up at the same time. Honestly, The motivation and value you'll receive from the people in the trenches with you, as well as those one step ahead of you, is far more valuable than the stuff you'll learn from YouTube videos alone. That's why I've put the community at the heart of the Wealth Portal. I love seeing people share their wins, helping each other out, meeting up in real life and having a bit of a friendly competition for the monthly prizes. But even if you aren't part of the Wealth Portal, there are plenty of other communities that you can join, and I'd really recommend doing this so you don't have to do it all alone. But when you start making a lot of money, where should you invest it? That brings us on to... The truth is, the most valuable investment you'll ever make isn't stocks, crypto, or real estate. It's you. You are the asset. You're the one thing you'll hold for your entire life, and the skills you develop compound just like money does. This is the point where your hard work starts paying off. That's why stage 5 is called freedom. If you've managed to follow a proven pathway and master the skills involved with making it work, then you'll have no problem becoming rich. You'll be able to buy whatever you want, work from anywhere in the world, and never have to answer to your boss ever again. I remember getting to this point, and trust me, there's no better feeling. But here's the thing. Being rich and being wealthy are actually two separate things. You see, when you start earning a lot of money, you have two choices. You could spend it all on the things you want, like a flashy car, designer clothes, and luxury vacations. Or on the other hand, you could reinvest a decent percentage of that money while you're still young and build true wealth. This is entirely up to you. At this point, you've achieved financial freedom and have enough money rolling in. However, if you're aiming to impress other people, I'd say this. Wealthy people like me will never be impressed with someone young spending all their money. We'd just look at you and be disappointed, as we know you could achieve far more by reinvesting some of it. So how can you actually reinvest? Well, when I was younger, I wasn't satisfied with just one income stream. I actually built multiple. This can be passive investments like index funds, cryptocurrency and individual stocks, or even better, additional skills that can help you make more money. Most people never make this shift because they blow all their money on stupid things. They'll happily spend $1,000 on the latest iPhone, but won't reinvest $200 into themselves. And that's exactly why they never reach true wealth. Just think about it. Whatever you spend today on meaningless crap, you're taking from your future self. Wealthy people reinvest in their skills, businesses and stocks to become more successful. Poor people spend money to impress other poor people. So even when you have freedom, still spend a couple of hours a day learning, read books, watch YouTube videos and join communities. These things have the highest return on investment you'll ever get. If you want to learn more about building wealth from scratch, then I'm going to leave that video right up there. But don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your wealth, okay? I'll see you over there.